Imagine a vacation where every detail is tailored just for you. That's the Dream Vacations and Rentals by PMI difference. We're not just another rental company. We're your personal vacation curators focused on you, our guest. From hand-picked properties to curated local experiences, we craft personalized journeys. Our marketing reaches you with the perfect options, matching your unique travel style. With Dream Vacations and Rentals by PMI, your perfect getaway is just a click away. Visit our website to book your dream vacation today and experience the PMI difference.
All right, welcome back, my beautiful people, to STR News and Digest, where we dive into everything related to short-term rentals, travel, and the business of hospitality. All right, I got a big show for you guys today. I got a lot of information to pass on. I want to go over some of the stuff that I did in my property in Georgia. As you can see, I'm back in Miami. I'll be here for a couple of days, then I got to leave again. But right now, let's go into some, let me give you a rundown, some of the stories we're going to talk about before I get into the first one. We're going to talk about the battle between Airbnb and Vrbo. You know, if you're planning on traveling this spring or this summer, we're going to talk about both, right? What Airbnb is doing and what Vrbo is doing, and then you can decide which one you want to use. As always, I always recommend that you don't use any of those platforms and that you try to book directly with the property manager or owner if you want to save some money. But we're going to go into that battle. I'm going to give you what's happening with Southwest and how other airlines are trying to take advantage of the marketing disaster and some of the issues that Southwest airline is going through today. I'm also going to talk about, I'm going to give you some deals, some deals on Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has a lot of good deals coming up. We're going to give you some deals on flights, although right now, it's not really, there's not a lot of great deals right now. You know, that window, if you want to fly like in May, April, and maybe June, if you want to fly in that time frame, you know, you're really going to have to do your homework. Highly recommend you get with a travel advisor to give you the best deals, but you missed out on some of the phenomenal deals. I'll mention the deal that I got, as I talked about before. Every year, you know, I go to Europe and I stay in Europe for the month, but I always look to see which airlines is going to give me the best travel deal on business class, so I don't have to spend 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on where I go in Europe, in economy and get there all beat up and worse yet when I come back from the travel be beat up, right? I want to be a little bit comfortable so I can get there and start enjoying the trip. So I found round-trip tickets from Miami to Frankfurt, Germany for $2,200, business class. They're the big Boeing airplanes, so I can lay down and enjoy all the amenities that business class has to offer. Now, let's get into some of the travel deals, or let's talk about flights. Right now, out of Miami or out of Fort Lauderdale, if you want to go to Miami or if you're going to fly out of Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, $63. Charleston, $67. New York, $77. Detroit, $71. Chicago, $116. Let's say if you want to go all the way out west to LA, you can get round trip tickets for $168. What other places? What a good deal I see here. Austin, $108 for Austin, Texas. Let's see if there's anything international. This is a really, Aruba right now is on sale from Miami for $206. Now, Aruba normally is pretty expensive to fly into Aruba, but it's $206. Medellin average is still it's $311. It's still, that's not really a great phenomenal price. And the last one is Cancun, $200 round trip from Miami. That's a great price. And all these flights that I talked about, it's either going to be on Spirit, American, or Aeromexico, right? You want details on these flights. DM me deals. All right. And then I'll reach out to you and I'll give you more details on the specific flights. Now, let me share my screen and let's go through some of the deals on Royal Caribbean. Again, I can move these up and down. Okay, here we go. A little bit of a delay. All right, again, my website, if you want to check out these deals in more greater detail, go to fdavid.dreamvacations.com. That's fdavid.dreamvacations.com. And if you forget that, the description or the link is in the description down below. Now, as you can see, we got Royal Caribbean, a 4-night Eastern Caribbean cruise for starting at $386. You have a 3-night cruise, $378. You have a 7-night Western Caribbean for $595. People, this is a great price. $595 for a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise. Really, really good. Now, Legends of the Sea, brand new ship, people. It is $1419 for a 6-night Western Caribbean and perfect day cruise. And the Legends of the Sea, which is one of the newest ships. Highly recommend you go on there. Another one is the Star of the Sea. Yeah, $1,800 or let's say $1,900 for that one. That's $271 a night, people. And again, if you haven't been on a cruise, highly recommend you go on one, specifically on Royal Caribbean. Now, if you don't have a family, I'm a big fan of Virgin Cruises. Now, the issue with Virgin Cruises is that they don't, your itineraries are kind of limited because they don't have a big fleet. And most of them, like if you ship out of Miami, they're going to be short cruises. Me personally, I'm a big fan of the short cruises. I don't like to be stuck on a ship for an extended period of time. For me, a week is an extended period of time. So that's why I'm a big fan of Virgin. But if you like those longer cruises and you are either single or a couple with no kids, then in Europe, Virgin has a lot of longer itineraries shipping out of Europe. I recommend Virgin, one of my favorite cruise lines. But my second favorite cruise line is going to be Royal Caribbean. Highly recommend them. Here's some great deals. Again, go to my website and check out those deals. Now, let's get into some of the stories. Let's talk specifically about Southwest Airlines. I've been talking about them lately a lot because they have completely changed their, how they do business, right? They used to be very different in the industry. Now they're just like everyone else. They're struggling right now. That's one of the reasons why they made this radical change. But for me, it's sad because I used to use Southwest a lot. I liked how they were operating, super customer friendly. They did provide a different, unique experience, which is why I really liked them before. But not today they're just like anyone else. Well, if you followed or if you watched last week's STR News and Digest, I talked about how they got rid of their bags travel for free program. Frontier is taking advantage of that. So let me read right off what Frontier is doing. Frontier, and I'm going to read off of the announcement that they made, right? Frontier Airline is taking a big dig at Southwest Airlines for nixing its popular no bag fee policy. The ultra low-cost carrier announced that it will offer free checked bags to customers through a promo deal for flights that take place from May 28 all the way to August 18. As part of the deal, customers can receive an economy bundle that also includes a free carry-on and seat selection if they book their flights by March 24. Guys, Frontier is, I hope a lot of people take advantage of this deal. First of all, if you've never flown Frontier, they're a no frills airline, super low cost, super budget airline. But if you're not going super far and you don't like to pay a lot for flights, check out Frontier, especially now, because it's going to be even cheaper now. Because those of you that travel on these low budget airlines like Spirit, like Frontier, like Allegiant, the cost of the ticket is usually very minimal, right? But they get you by having if you want to choose your seat, you're gonna have to pay for that. You want to have a carry-on, you're gonna have to pay for that. You want to check a bag, you have to pay for that. Well, right now, with this deal, then you're going to save because you don't have to pay for the seat, you don't have to pay for a check bag, and you don't have to pay for a carry-on. So take advantage of this. If you're going to travel anytime soon, take a look at it. See if you can take advantage of this specific deal. And again, for those of you that were fans of Southwest Airline, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what their future plans are. Hopefully it works out for them. But man, have they taken a big nosedive. So next story, let's talk about Arizona and what's happening in Arizona. There's a mayor in northern Arizona that is arguing and presenting a new state law to restrict the ability of people to have short-term rentals. Now, it is, again, I've been talking about this for so long. I'm kind of tired about talking about this because I am truly sick and tired of people scapegoating a certain aspect in order to add more regulation and take away more of your freedoms, right? Right now, a lot of these cities, New York, even though New York is retracting what they did, but they're the ones that actually started this heavy-handed regulations for short-term rentals. But New York, it's happening all over Europe. Now Arizona is trying to get into this act and really restrict and do amendments to the state law, right? Right now, they're calling for an amendment for the state law that will allow municipalities to set their own rules on STR, potentially leading to tighter restrictions such as rental caps, zoning limitations, and stricter permitting requirements. They're saying they want to do this to alleviate the housing crisis that's happening. Again, people, I've yet to see any politician provide evidence that short-term rentals actually are creating and are part of the problem related to the housing crisis and the uprise in housing prices, right? They can't do it. Evidence isn't there. In fact, the opposite is true. If you actually do the research and do the studies like New York City did, you'll realize that when you do that, you get the opposite effect. But anyway, this particular mayor in northern Arizona is trying to do that. So if you're from Arizona, I implore you, I beg you to go ahead and attend these meetings. Fight. Don't let it do it to you. Don't give up your rights. And again, when you go up there, don't be confrontational. Show up with data and ask for data. Ask for evidence that short-term rentals are causing the issues in the housing crisis. Because I'm here to tell you they cannot provide it. So highly recommend that you go out there and do that. Now, along those lines, I'm going to shift to the next topic I want to talk about, and that is, should you, if you are a short-term rental operator in one of these heavily regulated markets, should you switch or add midterm rentals to your portfolio, right? Or to your repertoire? And I'm going to address it this way. Midterm rentals and short-term rentals are two separate individual beasts, right? and it's going to depend on what market you're currently in. So, for example, I think if you are in an area in which, like New York City, for example, New York City is one example. There's some small pockets of area in, for example, the city of Miami. South Miami also has some pockets in there in which they don't allow you to do short-term rentals, meaning the restriction is so strict that they only allow for the shortest stay to be 30 days. So in essence, that is a midterm rental. So if you're in that area and you don't want to do a long-term lease, then obviously your only other option will be to do midterm rental. So that's one area, one segment of the STR population that I recommend that you actually do midterm rentals. The other segment, or the other group of people that should consider midterm rentals is if you're in an urban area that caters to businesses or business travel, right? I talked about this before as well in other STR news. The business travel industry has reemerged. It's coming back, people. Corporate travel and business travel is in full effect. So for those people, and if you are in a specific hub, right, there's cities with strong corporate travel demand, and they're looking for these furnished housing and flexible leases for their employees. So I'm going to give you some examples. London is one example where the demand for corporate leases, or what I refer to as midterm rental, is high. Dubai is another big one. Dubai is huge, people. There's so many companies going into Dubai trying to get a footprint in the Middle East and trying to expand their businesses. And they're sending employees there for weeks, months at a time. And they're looking, instead of paying the high dollars that you have to pay in a hotel, they're looking for this solution. The other places will be like New York City. Miami has become a big financial hub. Miami's another example. LA, there's a lot of major cities. Now, and I'm going to give you some numbers here. For example, Dubai, there's a 38% increase in Dubai, not just for business travels. This 38% increase is for the digital nomad, right? Dubai, Portugal is another example in which it is a hugely popular area for digital nomads. Costa Rica, hugely popular for digital nomads. Medellin, Colombia, hugely popular for digital nomads. These are areas where I highly recommend you look into and add midterm rentals to those areas. Now, if you're in Europe, here's some of the platforms that I recommend you get on there. One is called Morning Croissant. That's mainly for France. Housing Anywhere, that's European worldwide. Blue Ground, that's for global corporate housing. And then Property Finders and Buyout for Dubai. Another area, if you have a property that's near a medical center or university, those areas also have high demand for midterm rentals, right? Key platforms there will be like Furnish Finder, Spot Me a House. What's the other one? Wonder Flats, also a big popular platform for students looking for not long-term leases, but midterm leases. This is it, and now I'm going to give you areas where you shouldn't try short-term rentals, or at least not do it as a primary source, because I don't think you're going to actually do well in it. And those are the vacation and resort markets. Orlando being an example. Any of the ski resorts in Colorado being another example. Anything near a national park being another example. To a certain extent, West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale examples, right? Where Myrtle Beach, the Hamptons, another big example where midterm rentals don't do well, right? So I don't recommend that you try to get involved there. Now, there's I talked about this also in the podcast with Corey Prince right after the hurricane. Corey Prince shifted to midterm rentals not because that area is in high demand for short-term rentals, but because during the hurricane, there was an influx of workers going to his area to work and help rebuild Asheville, for example, and the hardest hit areas of North Carolina. That was a good time to switch to midterm rentals. So keep in mind that there may be a period of time in which you may want to do that because it can actually be very beneficial. Again, after the hurricane, no one was going to vacation in Asheville or the destroyed areas of North Carolina, but there were tons and tons of workers going there to work and help rebuild that needed temporary housing. Great opportunity for midterm rentals. All right. That's it for that story. Let's talk about Airbnb. Let me see if I can find that story. Where is it at? All right, Airbnb versus Vrbo, right? And their strategies for spring break both have very different strategies. And Airbnb right now is extremely upset at Vrbo. Vrbo has been hitting Airbnb with some awesome commercials, trying to put a spotlight on some of the negatives from Airbnb. Again, for me, the most powerful and the funniest and probably the most viewed commercial was the Nick Saban commercial that Vrbo did on Airbnb. If you haven't seen it, Google it. Extremely funny, but watch it, right? Now, here's the two different strategies. I already talked about how Airbnb is shifting, and they're shifting in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to sidetrack here for a second because I'm going to forget this part. But the other thing I forgot, guys, if you're watching, if you have any questions, list them so that I can answer them while I'm discussing some of these topics. But either put it in the chat box if you're watching me on YouTube, because there's several of you on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, on Facebook, comment. Lorena will have it and she'll pass it out to me. But so I wanted to lost my train of thought. Getting old, people. What was I talking about? Airbnb and Vrbo. Airbnb. Yeah. So their summer release is about to come out soon, and I think it's going to come out probably either April, maybe May. But here's what I predict, and here's if you read the tea leaves, I said this before. Airbnb is trying to be a one-stop shop, right? And they relaunched their experience department within Airbnb. They want you to be able to use Airbnb, not when you want to just book a place to stay, but they want you to be able to use it on a weekly, if not daily basis by booking a lot of different things related to travel. I really think they're also going to get into, selling flights like a travel agency. Right now, you can book experiences, you can book tours. They're looking to expand in the midterm market. They're looking to do a lot of different things. So look out for the summer release. I predict it's going to be surrounding how they want to expand and go further vertical than what they currently are. But anyways, let's go back to this. There are different strategies that they have for this spring break. Because of Airbnb wanting to be more vertical and because the focus is more on unique stays, the commercials that you're seeing for on Airbnb, and I showed a couple of the commercials last time, they're more for specialty stays, right? But on Vrbo, they're heavily targeting families. They're heavily targeting the traditional 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. And I personally have been seeing a big increase in on verbal bookings for those type of properties, right? Versus, verbal's not really in the unique space. So I'm not getting very little bookings for my unique properties, but I'm getting a lot of them for my properties on Airbnb. So that's a big shift, right? And that's something that you really need to look for. The other one is solo travelers are choosing to stay longer and they're choosing Airbnb. So we're going to be, Lorena and I are going to be putting out a video shortly on marketing, specifically to promote our ebook that we're creating. And one of the videos that we're going to be putting out, it's a video that I talked about. I identified your avatar. I've always talked about this, but what I need you to understand that if you're a short-term rental operator and you want to be successful in the industry, one of the most important things you can do is identify who your avatar is. And the reason that's extremely important is because once you identify that avatar, you can cater to that avatar and you can cater to that individual in many different ways. For example, the decor, right? You can design your property for that specific avatar. I'm going to talk about my vineyard. In my vineyard, my avatar for that vineyard are couples looking for a romantic getaway, or couples looking for a getaway, or looking to connect with nature and have an active getaway for a couple of days, right? I talked about it before. We're building trails. We're going to have e-bikes. We're going to have archery, a lot of activities, and it's going to be extremely private. That is my avatar, right? So why is that important? Because when you see what I'm building, and I'm going to show you in this shortly here, when you see the barn conversion, it's going to be very luxurious, right? But it's only built for a couple. When you look at the cottage, again, super nice, only built for a couple. Our geodome, super nice, only built for a couple. My orchard that I'm building, only built for people to come look, walk the trails, pick your own fruit, but only for couples, right? So that's my avatar. And I'm building and designing everything for that avatar. But here's the other most important part about that component when you identify your avatar. It is your blueprints to your marketing strategies, right? I don't have to worry about, and I don't worry about marketing to the masses. I am marketing to couples, period. End of conversation. Makes it super easy, super specific, very important. And if you want to be successful, that's how you become successful. All right. So let me show you or give you an update of the vineyard.
Sorry, before that, like way before that, you're talking about Airbnb and Verbo.
Yeah.
And someone asked me, like a guest, which is the best platform to book a property? Airbnb, booking.com, or Verbo?
Okay, none. Because they probably weren't listening to the beginning, but I'm going to repeat what I said in the very beginning. I use those platforms, but I use those platforms to identify the property I want to stay at, and then I try to locate the guest and book directly. You're always better off to book directly with the host or property manager. Now, there are some people that don't want to do that. They want to go through the hassle. Fine, right? So here's where the platforms vary. And I highly recommend that if you want to save money, look at all three. Look at Vrbo, look at Booking, and look at Airbnb, because you're probably going to find the same property in all three platforms. Just figure out which one's the cheapest. But I'm going to reiterate what I just said. If you're looking for a unique stay, Airbnb is the platform. Don't bother with any other platform because you're not going to find unique stays. Airbnb specializes in that. What do I mean by unique stays? This is what I mean by that. geodomes, tree houses. If you follow me on Instagram, the Selva Minca that we just did a bunch of videos on, and we promoted that specific property. That property, you're not going to find it on Verbal. You're not going to find it on booking.com, but you will find it on Airbnb, and you will find it on their own direct booking website. So it really depends on what type of traveler you are. If you're a family, go to Verbal, because you're going to find the most family-oriented homes on Verbal, right? Oh, and booking.com. So those are the three main platforms. But it depends on what type of traveler you are. If you're a nomad, then I highly recommend that you look at Airbnb, because you're going to get a greater variety. If you're looking for a longer stay, bigger homes, then go to Vrbo. If you're looking to go to South America, Europe, go to Booking, because they're the bigger platforms. But understand that in booking.com, you're going to pay more on Booking, because Booking charges a higher commission to advertise on there. And I can tell you, all of my properties are at a minimum 50% more expensive on booking.com than they are on Airbnb and Vrbo. So those, I hope I answered your question. Again, but it's tough to be specific because I don't know what type of traveler you are, but hopefully I answered that question. All right, let's move on. Do you, any other questions, Lorena?
No, she said like, thank you.
Okay, good. Now, let's show the updates. What video you want to show first?
Cambio the bikes?
Yeah, do the bike. Okay.
Okay.
Do the two bikes.
Perfect.
All right, while she's setting this up, again, going back to the vineyard, and my avatar there are couples. One of the amenities is that we're going to have electric bikes there. Now, again, if you want to follow everything I'm doing up there, follow me on Instagram, because I put a lot of updates on there. I put a lot of updates in the stories. All right, so here's the first bike. This is an Enway M20. That's the bike. And I'm going to tell you why I picked this specific bike, and I'm going to tell you why I picked the other one. So as you can see, this is a moped-style bike. You can pedal it, or you can use it like a moped. It's an electric bike, but it's really designed more for using it like a moped.
There you have it. Be assembled. That is the Seeker 24. But I'm gonna take it for a spin. Let me show you how it rides.
And then that is the second bike. This is more of a mountain bike. And the difference between the two is the following. Number one is the style, right? The first one, the Enway, is a moped style bike. It's more for a throttle use, not so much for pedaling, but obviously it's a bike, so you can pedal it. The Enway M20, I got that bike, and we did a lot of testing on both mountain style bikes and on these moped style bikes. We actually added more towards the moped style bikes for two reasons, right? The Seeker 24, which is the mountain style bike, extremely powerful, right? That bike is for experienced riders. That bike goes up to 44 miles an hour. It's dual motor, so meaning there's a motor in the front tire and a motor in the back tire. So you really have to have some experience. Now, you can take off the motor, but it's a bigger bike. And, being inexperienced in this market, hindsight being 2020, I would have gotten all the moped-style bikes, because that Seeker is, like I said, it's a powerful bike. It's more for an experienced user, and it's big. So if you're short, even though I'm short, I'm 5'7.5", and and I used the half because I used to be 5'8", because of age. I shrunk a little bit. But it's big for me. So if you're shorter than 5'7", that Seeker 24 is going to be a very big bike for you. And it's heavy. It's about 100 pounds versus the moped style bike is lighter, more maneuverable, and for the trails, much easier to use for the trails. Now, I'm going to show you this video. Go on and play it, and I'm going to talk about this video. Do you have volume for that or no?
Yeah, I already played it.
Yeah, but there was no. Does it have volume?
Yes.
We didn't hear it.
Let me play again. Okay, let me play again.
That, my friend, is the workhorse of this venue.
All right. So there's that's another bike. It's another mountain style bike, very similar to the Seeker 24 that I just showed you. So we have two of this mountain style bikes. Again, super powerful. And this bike has become my workhorse on the property. There's many, if you go to any farm, you're going to find that every farmer has either a donkey or a horse that they use to do everything on the property. I don't have any of that. This is my workhorse. I use this bike to haul equipment back and forth. I haul plants. I travel everywhere. So the town of Nashville is about 4 to 5 miles from my property. And I've been having to go into town for a lot of reasons, to get permits. Recently, I had to go there for the septic tank because you got to get the health department. Anyway, long story short, I don't drive when I'm up there. I use that bike everywhere. So it has become the workhorse. But going back to the bikes for the guest, the moped style bikes are going to be more user friendly. They're lower to the ground. Now, if I get a 6'5" dude coming to the property, then yeah, use the Seeker. That's going to be a better bike for you. But for the most part, if you are 5 feet tall, up to 6'2", the moped style bikes are going to be good for you. Again, user friendly. They go pretty fast. They go up to 28 miles an hour. But they're easier to maneuver, especially on the trails. These trails are dirt trails meant for for mountain bikes, for the ATVs. So you want something that you can handle. So because I don't want guests going out there and killing themselves. So that's that. Here's a quick video on the trees that we planted.
Okay, 1 second. Let me know if you can hear.
Here's what I'm going to do too. While you're doing that, let me I want to give you a quick idea. 1 second. On the area that we planted and why we planted the sources. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so this is a satellite view of the property. Just make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see it. Good. All right, so this area here is the vineyard. These are the grapes. All right, so this is the open area in which we just planted, what was it? A total of 214 different types of trees, bushes, and vines, right? So this vineyard or these rows of grapes, we extended it. So this whole area here now is all newly planted muscadine grapes. So we have male, females, we have jumbo, Loomis, Coward muscadine grapes. They're all right here. Now, you may be asking, what are muscadine grapes? Right? So muscadine grapes are native to this area. They're very easy to grow, and they're very versatile. A lot of vineyards use them for wines, juices, jams. It's a very versatile grape. Now, you may ask, why did I get male and females? We got male and females because they pollinate, and it helps them grow better when you have the two types of brand. And then again, there's Loomis, Jumbo, Coward, or different types of the muscadines, and I wanted a greater variety. But that was planted here. So this entire tract here, which, and just to give you a little bit of in terms of acreage, how big is this? And don't quote me exactly, but this is about 15 acres right here. In those 15 acres, we planted a lot of fruit trees. We planted apple, a different variety of apples. We have, I think, 3 different varieties. Fuji, Fuji. Shoot, I forgot. There's an M version of it, and I'm drawing a blank for the other one. Anyways, 3 types of apple. We have pear, we have plums, we have peaches, we have fig, and we have Satsuma oranges. I planted a lot of Satsuma oranges. And if you're not familiar with a Satsuma orange, it's a combination of a mandarin or tangerine or mandarin, one of those, and an orange. So they're the size of an orange, but they peel like you would peel a tangerine. Super easy to peel. A very juicy, sweet orange. And we got 2 types of lemon. Meyer lemons. Again, if you're not familiar with lemons, Meyer lemons, not only are they the best, but they're hard to find and expensive to get. I got very lucky that a local nursery had them, and I bought, I believe, a total of 18 of those lemon trees, and then we bought regular lemons, Clement lemons we bought. So anyway, we planted all those. This summer, we're not going to get a harvest out of this, but next summer, we will get a harvest, and not all the fruit trees, but the majority of them. So for example, the figs, I don't anticipate getting harvest from the figs for at least 2 years. We might get one, but because they grow really, really quick. But the peaches, I think it's going to be another 2 years for the peaches. And then I forgot all the blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries that we got. Again, different varieties of the blueberries and raspberries. I'm not going to go through all of them. We did a video on Instagram. You can go on Instagram and take a look at that. But those will take the blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries are going to take 2 years for us to be able to harvest those, because I got, the big issue here was that I'm very inexperienced to all this. Did some research, but didn't realize, when a nursery tells you we're going to sell you a 2-year plant, for me, the concept, okay, 2 years, I know the harvest is usually in 3 years, so they should be ready. Nah, it doesn't work that way. I mean, they were very little. If you look at some of the videos, you'll see, I got trees that are 8 feet high, and I got literally stems or sticks that we planted in the ground because I didn't know the difference. But anyways, there'll be a couple of years. Now, the cool part is next year I'll have some harvest. The following year I'll have a little bit more. And then the third year, it'll be full blown. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, that is going to be it for now. If there's no questions, I want to thank you for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow me on Instagram. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.